People ask what I've done to show as civic pride in our community. One day my son came home from school. He was probably 7 or 8 years old. And he said, "Dad, I want to play baseball." So I said, "Sure." Signed him up, and away we went. And it wasn't long before I was the assistant head coach, and then later the head coach, a position that I held for 16 years or better. From D-ball all the way up to 2 years in semi-pro. And it was through this that I was able to help mold and mentor some of the troubled kids that were not only on our team, but on some of the teams that I helped mentor. Kids that other coaches didn't want to deal with, or even have on their teams. I always tried to be that encouraging father figure to all of my boys. One little thing I want to add here. Back when my son was in high school, I think he was playing junior varsity or varsity. I was down at the game. We were playing at Upper Millcrest. And I had a coach come to me and was talking to me, and he asked me to coach his team. And at that point, I was at a point where I wanted to retire. So I asked him, I said, "Can I give you your answer tomorrow?" And he said if I didn't answer him right then and there, that his team wouldn't be able to play for the summer. I asked him what was going on. That's when he informed me that he had a brain aneurysm that he had to have operated on. Well, I wasn't going to allow kids to sit through the summer and not be able to play baseball, not be able to have a team. So I said yes, on the spot. Called a meeting for the next day to meet with these young men. They arrived at Upper Millcrest, and I told them what was going on with their coach. And I explained to them that we're going to win our district, they're going to win it, I'm going to coach it. They told me that they never won district. And I said, there's a first time for everything. We put that team together in that head coach's honor, and I never introduced myself as the head coach. It was always the interim head coach. We put this team together, and those boys took off like fire and never looked back. I'd call this coach daily after our games and let him know that we just won another one. And as this man lay dying on his deathbed, we were informed we'd won our district. I called what was to be his soon widow and explained to her what was going on. She let me know that he was in his last few hours. And I asked her to lean down and whisper in his ear and let him know that he was district champion. We received a trophy from that, which she told me to keep. I informed her that that trophy did not belong to me. It belonged to her husband, and that's where that trophy went. These are what we do in a community. Those boys came together and showed Norwood pride. No matter where we went, with class, tact, they were Norwood through and through. But one of the things that would discourage us when we would play some of these opposing teams is the other parents would always regret having to come to Norwood. It was, oh God, we have to play at Norwood. And that bothered us. Bothered me, bothered my boys, bothered my parents. So what we would do is we would go down the day before or the day of the game, clean up any additional garbage that we would find, chalk additional lines, make small repairs to pitcher's mound, one of the bases, to make that field a focal point for that game. But it was to also welcome this team that was coming in to play us to Norwood. During our home games, we would have cookouts and invite the parents, the kids from the opposing team, so they could have a hot dog or a hamburger, something to drink. We just tried to make them feel welcome in our city. My parents and kids would always stay after each one of the games, both home and away, and help me clean up the fields. It was our way of instilling pride and also giving back to the community by making those fields that we played at just a little bit better than the way we found them. Working for the city of Norwood for 18 years, I was able to interact with a lot of the community. And what this did was it allowed me to do things on my personal time to help my seniors and help those people that were on fixed incomes. But just doing little small things, changing a smoke detector battery, replacing a light bulb, putting an air conditioner into a window for those that were unable to do it. One of the things that I carried with me was a list. And on that list was contacts for Salvation Army, St. John's, St. Peter and Paul's, Red Cross, legal aid. I would give this out to the struggling families who were struggling with utilities, rent, or even some Christmas needs. I once had to write orders on a lady to paint her porch. She couldn't afford it. So I went and bought the paint and brushes and gave them to her. This is what a community does. This is how you're supposed to help your neighbor. And I was asked on several occasions, why do you do this? And I told them, I said, that's what neighbors do. That's what neighbors are supposed to do. They're supposed to help. A hand up. And a lot of the citizens would look at me and tell me that they would never be able to begin to pay me back. And I would tell them, I don't want repayment. That I wanted them to pay it forward to the next person that they saw needed help. And I know this sounds cliche, the pay it forward, but it's the way I was raised. Neighbor helping neighbor, community helping community. We have to help and we have to work with each other. I participated in a PWC repair affair that they had in Norwood. I did these things because I wanted to make their quality of life just a little bit better. Outside of Norwood, I participated in numerous charities such as Take Back the Night, which helps victims of rape and domestic violence. The Dragonfly Foundation, which gives comfort and joy to children and young adults with cancer. The Polar Bear Plunge. The American Heart and Cancer Society 5K runs. And one of them that was near and dear to me, which was the Caleb Fuller Forget Me Not Walk. I knew this young man personally. I'm also a living historian and do Civil War and World War II reenacting. My opponent says he sees things in Norwood that he's not proud of. I see so much in Norwood that makes me proud. Is there room for improvement? There always is. But you always have to be proud of your community.